So why do you think then the church tends to not gravitate towards health and fitness like you mentioned, where it might not be very common or well received? Why do you think that is? Because I tend to notice that it's just something that's not talked about enough. People really do separate the two, and I don't understand why. Because I've been an athlete my whole life. I played a little bit of college soccer. I went to small Christian school before I transferred. I just graduated from Clemson, but I've been an athlete my whole life, and I've just seen just how beneficial it is for a human being to be involved in physical fitness. And then when your faith comes into it, it takes it up a whole nother level because the fitness almost takes a backseat, but
Yeah.
when your faith is leading the way, you can see even better results too. And then when you feel better physically, you can do more, you can be a light for more people to
Yeah.
grow closer to Christ. And so why do you think that is? Why do you think so many people put it on the back burner for so long?
Yeah, there's a few reasons that I think churches don't speak about health and fitness more. One of them, sadly, is because a lot of pastors are out of shape, right? So when they're not living the lifestyle, it's hard to talk about it because
Hmm.
it can come off as very hypocritical, and that's a harsh truth. But that I think comes from a culture that doesn't really emphasize self-care that much. It's about working, it's about serving, it's about doing everything for everyone else. And if you do take too much time for yourself, it's like selfish or prideful or whatever it is. Not realizing that there's a bit of an ignorance there because if we self-neglect, then we now have issues that we're forced to take care of, which by nature pulls us away from ministering to other people.
Hmm.
So I think there's some stuff that's being overlooked there. That's one aspect. Two, I just think that I think it's been a slow process because the church didn't need to go to the gym when it first started, right? Like their lifestyle was the gym. Like we're
Hmm.
simulating their lifestyle now by exercising and doing certain things. Their everyday life required them to do manual labor and to work the field and use their muscles and endurance and strength. And so therefore they naturally took care of themselves in ways that we don't because we're naturally sedentary and have cars and can use Amazon Prime, right? And
Hmm.
people were hunting and whatnot. And so the nutrition was different too. There wasn't a bunch of chemicals and processed food. You made everything that you ate. We don't have that situation. There is an abundance, especially here in America. It's everywhere. So the church, I think, just gradually over the years has just kind of fallen into conforming to the patterns of this world in that sense, to
Hmm.
where we are eating just the same as everyone else. Therefore, we're just as sick as everyone else. The only problem is it is one of those things that I think onlookers who are not believers kind of judge us for because we are saying that our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit and we honor God with our bodies and da 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 da. We're representatives of the kingdom and the light of the world, and we are dying from the same diseases and just as sick and beat up and battered in some ways, especially when it comes to self care, mindset, and stuff like that. Because health and fitness isn't the only thing we're not talking about. We don't talk about mental state and seeing a psychiatrist, a therapist, and stuff like that as much either. So there's ways that we're not doing too hot, and the world's looking at us saying, "Man, the way that I connect, the way that that's relevant to me, the way that I do understand because I don't get all the spiritual stuff from that aspect, you're just as busted up as everybody else. I
Yep.
don't see anything different about you, right?" So I think, like I said, it goes back to us overlooking the significance of this, not realizing that the enemy is using the fork and people's plates to really hinder a lot of believers. So being naive in that sense, just slowly conforming to the patterns of the world and that's just the culture, unintentionally, not talking about health and fitness, and then also I think just the leadership not, you know, leading the way
Hmm.
and being the example.
I agree. I do think that a better example needs to be set, and I think that a lot of things would follow if we did have, people at the head of the church, pastors, people who are on stage who everyone, sees every week, every Sunday, and sees them taking care of their body. I think that it would go a long way.